Alright, YouTube. Welcome to my submission for the Unofficial Great Guitar Build-Off Contest of 2020. I had recorded a little intro monologue deal, but when I watched it back, it was pretty cringy, so we're just going to dive into it with some voiceover. So I'll give you the rundown of where the guitar stands right now. Start off with a 3-piece alder body blank. Have it rough shaped into a Strat looking thing, using a preloaded pickguard as you see there. Got a humbucker single coil humbucker configuration. Got some switches, which I'm not even positive what they do yet. Haven't really explored that. And trying to take a look there. They're either coil splitting or series parallel type things. Hopefully everything is wired correctly, because I don't know if my wiring skills are up to fixing that just yet, but hopefully that all goes well. For those that watched the official contest, you'll know that the kit guitars for the contestants were provided by Crimson, so kind of using my own built kit here. You'd also know that all those guitars were auctioned off on eBay, with the money raised going to some really great charities. I plan on doing something similar with this guitar here. If you caught a glimpse of that fretboard right there, you might have a guess at the direction of charity that I am hoping to contribute to. So this is the first neck that I have attempted to build myself. It's a maple neck with a white oak fretboard, medium jumbo frets, epoxy resin inlay. It has its share of issues, but I'm kind of moving too fast here to go over them all, so I'll create an Instagram post and try to link it to this video and tell you all about it. Alright, so let's move into the build. Here we got a nice shot of the top of my head. Check for any dandruff. So measuring out the neck pocket here. This will not be a tutorial or a how-to video. I've learned most of what I know from YouTube anyways, and the other parts I've just been making up, so I have no business telling you how to build guitars. So this is more of a what not to do video, if anything. One thing I will recommend is use templates. I am impatient here, and I am just marking out the neck and just gonna route it freehand, thinking that it's gonna save some time, but in the long run it's probably gonna be faster if you just make a template. And if you mess up on the template, it's not really a big deal. Just make another one. If you screw up on the body, you're gonna hate yourself. So I'm gonna go over it slowly with the router, try to get as close to the marks I've made as possible. Probably gonna go grab a chisel here, try to clean it up a little bit. Back to the router, and like I said, this is not really how it should be done. It ends up being a slow and painstaking process. Just trying to be real careful with those lines, testing to see the fit, clean it up, mark out those lines a little more. Back to the chisel. Okay, so while we got some time, while I'm screwing with this neck pocket, let's go back to the charity aspect of this thing. I would like to hopefully set up a raffle for this guitar, but I have no experience doing something like that, and I know that it could be a little bit tricky from a legal aspect, so if anyone has any tips on how to do that without getting myself in trouble, that'd be appreciated. And if that doesn't work out, it'll probably end up being another eBay auction type thing. As for the charity itself, I do not have a specific one picked out, but if you could tell from the inlays on the fretboard, I do want this guitar to be promoting unity and equality and justice. So I need to do a little bit more research on exactly which charity I will be donating to. The inspiration for this guitar, or to build this guitar, came after the murder of George Floyd. At the time, I didn't really have the skills or knowledge or tools to build what I had envisioned. So slowly over the course of the summer, began acquiring these things and got working on that neck. However, over the course of the same time period, unfortunately, we had several other events and incidences occur, from protesters being brutalized and in some cases killed, to the murder of Breonna Taylor getting off with little to no consequences at all. So several different avenues I am looking at as far as the charity that I will be donating to. So if you have any recommendations in that regard, I welcome those, as I have some research to do myself. Alright, so let's get back to the build here. Still working on that neck pocket. Like I said, save yourself some headaches. Use a template. Buy one, make one. Doesn't matter. Looks like finally got the neck to at least fit in the pocket. Just double checking the depth here. Usually leave it a little bit high. Can always take off more wood. It's a lot harder to add material back on afterwards. So clean it up, fits in, and we have a neck pocket. Alright, time to throw in the neck plate, mark out for the screw locations. Got a little scratch all there. Definitely helpful to use when you don't want your drill bits wandering here. Here I am messing with this Black & Decker Workmate thing. It's been handy in a tight workshop, which is really just my front porch. Ended up just realizing that you want to use a scrap piece of wood to screw through to minimize tear out. I'll line it up on the backside now, clean up those holes, and let's clamp it together, get a couple screws in there, and we have what's starting to look like a guitar. Just be careful when you're putting these screws into the neck. You don't want to have to force it in. I had a screw get stuck in the neck of one of my earlier builds, and it actually ended up breaking off, and it was just a whole fiasco. So, make sure your holes are wide enough and deep enough, and just tighten them by hand and just get them snug, and don't overdo it. Alright, so marking out the placement for the bridge here. Using a fender scale neck, so 25.5 inches from the nut to the saddles. This will be the first guitar with a trem system, or first guitar that I am making with a trem system. So, trying to figure out where exactly I'm going to need to route the body for that to sit in, and make sure that the intonation is correct and everything. So, double checking a bunch here. Not really too familiar with tremolo systems. The first guitar I ever had was a Squier Strat, and that had a trem on it, but since then, mostly been playing hardtail and tune-o-matic style bridges, so this is somewhat new territory for me. But I figured I'm making a guitar inspired by protests, so gotta ask, what would Tom Morello do? And Tom Morello would want a trem, so that's what this guitar gets. Alright, still marking out where this thing needs to go, taking a bunch of measurements, leaving the bass side a little longer than the treble side. That's what you would typically do on a Tune-o-matic style bridge, so figured it probably is the same with a floating trem like this, or at least it won't hurt. The saddles are adjustable, so I can fix the intonation at the end if it comes to that. Taking a Forstner bit to it now, front side and back side. Just matching the width of what I perceived to be the necessary pocket. Decided to go with the jigsaw to connect those holes. I had a little bit of tear out right there, as you might be able to see. Wasn't expecting that from the saw, so taking a file to it, trying to clean up those edges. Should have used a sharper bit or something. Alright, so I had some technical difficulties. I did not turn the camera on when I thought I had, and you guys have missed out on a bunch of the routing of the pickup cavities. Basically, I took apart that loaded pick guard, sort of used that to trace out where the pickups are going to sit. Ran into a little issue because the neck that I have made is longer than a traditional Strat neck, as in it has more frets. That preloaded pickguard is not going to fit on the body without some adjustments. So I have a couple ideas of what to do there, but you'll get to see that in a later video. So just making sure everything fits here. A little bit tight. I end up cleaning this up. Don't think I shot a video of that either. Over to the back side here. Still trying to figure out just exactly how these trem things work. But using the springs to sort of mark out where this cavity is going to need to go. Using a makeshift template here at a framing square and just a piece of scrap wood. It worked okay. In a pinch, if you really need something, you could use something like this. So back to the router. Going over this pocket here. Making a mess. Dust flying everywhere. Wear your safety glasses, kids. Alright, so double checking the depth. Not really sure how deep this thing needs to be. Don't want to go too deep and end up into the pickup cavities on the other side, so double check, clean it up. I don't know, flip the square over a bunch of times, figure out what the hell you're trying to do. And voila, there you have it. Back to the front side of the guitar now. Same deal. Just trying to clean this up a little bit. I went a little bit narrow on the pocket the first time. Didn't allow much movement for that trim. So, just clean it up here, widen it up a little bit. Hopefully taking out some of that tear out from the jigsaw. And voila, the trim is in. Double check that the scale length is still good. Mark out for the bridge posts. Drill them out. Use a piece of tape or marker or something to make sure that the depth you need is correct. Hopefully the next video I do a better job of editing so I don't have to just ramble on like this. Guys probably don't want to watch me measure things a million times and still get it wrong. So one pin in, looks like. Still trying to figure out exactly how this, floating trim thing works here. It's a bit of a mystery to me, but I think I got it now. Second hole marked out, trim stuck in there. Great, gotta take out the pin piece and get the drill bit. Double check again. Using all helps for sure. Tap that second pin in here. Maybe not, maybe run over to get something else. Working on your front porch definitely has its challenges. Alright, here we go. Tapping that post in. Oh, doesn't fit, guess. Had to widen that hole a little bit. And I think we're finally in. Yep. That Allen key, tighten it down, and we have a secured trim. Cool. Alright, now that I've figured out the backside. Yep, scale length still good? Hopefully. Alright. Spring cavity. Figure out how to get the screws into hold. I don't even know what these pieces are called, to be honest, so someone will correct me. So this little guy with all the teeth on it, gotta get him secured in using some screws. Got a long ass drill bit here. Mark out and go back with the awl. Just using that framing square to protect the edge of that body so that drill bit doesn't scratch it up. Didn't mark out how deep I needed it, so went back in, put some tape on that drill bit, get those screws in there, and well, at least looks pretty close to how it should. Reinstall the trim block. Anyways, like again, don't know what things are called, no idea. Alright, adding some springs. I'll definitely have to make some adjustments on these later, but just verifying that everything is actually operational and it at least seems to be close, so happy with that for now. Back with the giant ass drill bits. Gotta connect the input jacked cavity to the pickup cavity. This was giving me trouble, clearly, trying to figure out how to get in there with a big bit to connect those things, but got it worked out in the end. So yeah, this is about as far as this video will go. Probably do 2 more episodes, and so check back soon. Peace.